Good morning, everybody. Welcome to your Rangers Review morning briefing. It is Wednesday, the 10th of September. I'm Derek Clark, and I'm joined this morning by Blair Malloy. How goes it, Blair?
Good morning, Derek. Yeah, going well here. Just enjoying a few days off, enjoying a few days of relaxation over the international break. I thought I would maybe take a bit of time away from the football, but the bug caught up with me again this weekend. I ended up going to one of my local junior games, which was Pollock against Renfrew, where, would you believe, I bumped into two listeners of the Rangers Review, such as the scope of the Rangers Review audience. They were saying how much they enjoyed the show, how much they enjoyed the podcast, which is always nice. So yeah, got to take in a little bit of lower league football during the international break, and after the other night's performances, now getting that bit of excitement back to see Rangers back in action.
Yeah, good stuff. Are Pollock still one of the top dogs in the junior game, Blair? Are they still a decent side?
They have waned a little bit in recent years. I think is fair to say they've probably lost a few of their best players. It was actually a really good game on Saturday afternoon. I always find that these games are a bit of an antidote to modern football and the rigours of modern football, and it can be a little bit overcoached. So just seeing a game like that on a Saturday afternoon was thoroughly enjoyable. The centre midfielder for Renfrew, I must give him a shout out. He scored an absolute ripper of a free kick into the top bin in the first half from about 25 yards out, similar to one Mr. D. Cornelius, who I'm sure we'll go on to talk about. But yeah, it was a good afternoon all round.
Good stuff. Right, let's talk Rangers then. Some of you saying that my volume needs up, so I'll just increase it slightly. But yeah, before we talk Rangers, well, we talk Rangers, we'll discuss Rangers, but it's been international week, and a number of Rangers players were on fire last night for their respective countries. But before we delve into that, a quick word for our podcast sponsors, Willows Fencing, the Glasgow-based fencing company you can trust, and proud partners of the Rangers Review. If you're looking for a new fence, folks, then these are the guys to call. And they're offering free consultations, and you also get 10% off if you use the code Rangers Review over on their website, which is willows-fencing.com. Right, let's get to it then. Where should we start? Well, we'll discuss Cornelius first of all, Blair, since you mentioned him. Of course, a deadline day signing from Marseille and a season-long loan, Rangers with that option to buy. He featured for Canada in their two matches in this break, and he played the game last night and was named man of the match in their 1-0 win over Wales at Swansea City Stadium. And not only that, he scored an absolute belter of a free kick, which I didn't know he had in his locker. It was almost Borna Barisic, eat your heart out style. An absolute beauty from him. And James Tavernier might have a bit of competition on his hands for set pieces, Blair.
Yeah, absolutely. I just point to a piece that I'll have on the site later on today, just something of a little international roundup where I look back at all the Rangers stars on international duty and how they got on over this weekend. Some absolutely shining performances, as you mentioned there. We'll start off with Derek Cornelius. I think when he arrived from Marseille on deadline day, I think everybody was really excited about this because of his defensive prowess. I think he came in as a bit of an experienced head. Now, we'll caveat all of this by saying we've not seen him in a Rangers jersey yet, so we don't know what he's going to be like. Playing at Ibrox, but I don't think anybody quite expected him to have that in his locker. When I seen the clip last night online, I just seen the headline first that Derek Cornelius scores this great goal, and in my head I'm going, oh, maybe it's a really good header, maybe he's got a shot away from the end of the box, and then I seen him line up this free kick, and I'm like, surely not, and what an unbelievable hit it was. Straight out of the Juninho Pernambucano, remember him for Lyon playbook, from all of 25 yards into the top corner. Any defender that can add that to your game, can bring that to the side, definitely will be a threat in the Scottish League, I think.
I'm just trying to think if Rangers do have a left footer that can hit set pieces. Ever since Bonner left, I don't think has there been someone that stepped up to hit them that you can sort of hang your hat on. I don't think there is. Correct me if I'm wrong, folks, but yeah, this is a welcome addition, if you like. And incidentally, we spoke to a Marseille podcaster last night as well. He gave us a bit of a rundown on his time with them last season. Interesting stuff. Blair we had on, and he mentioned that Roberto De Zerbi plays that high line that Russell Martin pretty much plays as well, and at times he could, if he lost the ball, then he could be caught by the pacey front men of the opposition over in France. So yes, he did say that he's more suited to a back three and is pretty much a siege defender. So a John Souttar type, if you like, but left-footed. He did say he is predominantly left-footed. That's where he likes to play over on that left-hand side. So that begs the question. We've discussed it on a number of videos, Blair, about how Rangers are going to shape up in the back line on Saturday. Could Russell Martin go to a back three? If not, he's got three centre-halves and only two spaces if he's electing to go with the back four. We both had John Souttar in on that right-hand side in our sort of strongest Rangers 11s last week that we put up on the screen with Cornelius coming in. I think if he's going with the four, it's either Giga or Souttar for that right-hand side. I would like to see Souttar positioned over there because it is his more natural side, and I think it makes it a big difference if he's over there. I guess a lot is factored into what Russell Martin is asking his defenders to do as well. If he's going to have that high line that we've seen for many of the league fixtures so far, or if it'll be more of a Celtic sort of formation and approach to the game on Saturday. It'll be interesting to see how it shapes up.
I listened to that interview yesterday, Derek. I thought Bilal was an excellent guest. He was incredibly prepared, incredibly knowledgeable about Marseille as well. And what he said worried me a little bit in terms of Derek Cornelius, that he has experience of playing in a high line, yes, but it didn't really suit him that well. And that he played a lot better of his games when they played a little bit deeper and he was able to defend. Now, you would think that if Rangers were committed to playing the way that Russell Martin has already set his stall out, you'd maybe have been looking more for a sort of ball-playing centre-half. However, Derek Cornelius, he seems to be, well, from what our man in Marseille said, he's a player who very much enjoys defending, which I've got no problem with. I like defenders to defend, but whether that actually suits the way that Rangers play, I'm not entirely sure. Saying that, I watched the highlights of the game against Wales last night. I thought he looked very comfortable on the ball. I thought he looked very composed. He was a leader in that back line. And we've spoke about it so many times so far this season already that Rangers don't have enough leaders in that side. So I think he'll offer a big voice. I think he'll offer a big personality in that back. And I would absolutely be starting him on Saturday. I know you guys spoke about it yesterday, but I think Cornelius, from what I've seen, read, heard about him, I think him alongside John Souttar, and I think you move John Souttar back into his more natural right-sided centre-back position. I think you get a different John Souttar altogether. I think he looked a lot more comfortable there when playing there for Scotland. And I think, as I've touched on in that piece that I put on the website, the fact that John Souttar played with two different central defensive partners over the two Scotland games, and he always looked quite comfortable. That Denmark was a bit more of a stoic defensive display, just heading everything that was coming back at him. But I'd like to see Cornelius and Souttar on Saturday if it was me personally.
Yeah, I like my defenders to defend and hit free kicks. That is my preference. But Nicky Kearney gets in touch. He says, don't want to get carried away about Cornelius, but it does seem to be a mix of Richard Gough and George Alberts. I'll be happy with that. A combination of those.
No pressure, then. No pressure.
Absolutely would be fantastic. So, listen, I think I'd be starting them on Saturday. And then it's either a Souttar, Giga, Cornelius back three, or a Souttar and Cornelius centre-back partnership. But do let us know if you disagree with that, folks. Would you rather have Nasser Giga in there alongside Cornelius, or perhaps just stick with the Souttar Giga partnership I don't think there'll be too many that would be going with that, but you never know. We touched on there Cornelius, who belted in that wonderful free kick, and Tello Aasgaard came off the bench for Norway last night against the Moldova, and happened to score 4 goals, and in an 11-1 win in their World Cup qualifier. A really sensational display from the bench from Tello. Some of the defending was questionable. It's fair to say Moldova aren't exactly Brazil 1970, but you can only beat what's in front of you. And 4 goals from him. Fantastic achievement. He took home one of the match balls because Erling Haaland netted 5 goals himself. In fact, I'll post up this brilliant photo of the pair of them, folks, in the dressing room after the game with the 2 match balls, Tello and Erling Haaland there. So, well done to Norway and to Tello as well. He's certainly going to come back and, full of confidence. You'd like to think, Blair. My issue, we discussed Tello after the Old Firm game, was I get he sort of did a number on Callum McGregor, if you like, but I wanted to see more from him in an offensive sense on the ball. I don't think we seen enough of that. Coming back after netting 4 goals can't be bad for his confidence. The issue is, where do you play him?
4 goals can't be bad for your confidence, as you say, Derek. And when you're learning alongside Erling Haaland on international break, that can't be bad for any sort of forward-thinking player. And I felt a bit sorry for him that he scored 4 goals and still wasn't the highest scorer in the match. But I guess that's what happens when you've got Erling Haaland playing up alongside with you. He was getting a lot of plaudits for his performance in the Celtic game, and like you said, I do think that he was asked to do a very specific role in that game. I think he was asked to use his physicality. I think he was asked to use his engine to get about the pitch to really nullify Callum McGregor in that game, and it worked. So I'm reticent to be too critical of him in that regard, but what I do think we need to see more from Tello Aasgaard in a Rangers jersey is when you're playing teams where opportunities will present themselves, I would like to see him get further forward, and I would like to see him really make those late runs into the box and really support the centre forward. That's why I'm always a bit of an advocate of a 4-2-3-1 rather than a 4-3-3. I think it just gives you a little bit more balance, and I think it lets your most forward thinking of the midfield 3 really go and express themselves in that final third. I made the mistake this weekend of tweeting out my strongest Rangers 11, which I should know better. Putting anything on social media just opened me up for a barrage of opinions, shall we say? Let's put it that
abuse.
way. But
let's call it abuse. Let's call it for what it is, Blair.
Yes.
It usually takes the heat off of me. I'm usually the one in the firing line for my bonkers team selections.
Yeah, so I was getting called all sorts of names during the weekend, but I have Tello Aasgaard in my strongest Rangers starting 11 every day of the week. I think that with his physical profile, and I understand, I caveat this again by saying he's not really done anything for Rangers so far. I get that. But the boy was injured. He came into Rangers, he picked up an unfortunate injury. It really stunted the start of his career, and he's really now just starting to get going. And I think if you watch back his goals last night, they're all right. Moldova were 6-0 down at the time. The game was done. It was a dead rubber at that point, and they were just trying to see out time. But they're 4 really nice finishes. There gets a penalty in there as well, which he absolutely hammers home. But they're 4 decent finishes that you would expect someone with a good level of technical ability to be able to put away. So I think you put him in that number 10 role. You give him a little bit of free rein to operate behind Majowski. You've got Gassama and Ackman either side of him. And I think with that physical presence, I think he can be a real asset, because I've long said that Rangers haven't had enough physicality in the midfield 3 for what seems like about 7-8 years now. So having someone who does have a little bit of a physical presence, who also appears to have that technical ability, I think when he gets going, if utilised properly, let's put that in, if utilised properly, then I think he could be a real asset to this team this year.
Yep, I've seen some suggesting he should be playing as a centre forward as well, which we did see against St Mirren away. St Mirren away is where we've seen that, and it never quite worked. Again, I don't think this lone striker will work in this system that Russell Martin is attempting to play. There's not enough chances created for whoever it is leading the line, which is why I want to see two players up top, whether that's Aasgaard and Miovski or Miovski and Chermiti, who knows? But I would like to see that the two strikers leading the line, certainly domestically anyway. I think that is the way to go personally. But Aasgaard getting 4 goals, absolutely fantastic for him. And playing with some top players we touched on there. Haaland, Odegaard got on the score sheet as well. So he's coming back full of beans, I'd imagine. Cornelius we touched on there with John Suter as well. Has had a good couple of games for Scotland, but it's translating that into Rangers. They're coming into a team that aren't firing, let's be honest. And as this point from JG points out, he says the players can have positive international windows, but if it's turgid against Hearts after 20 minutes, we'll be on their backs and creating another toxic atmosphere. I don't think he's wrong there, Blair. It's a different kettle of fish coming back and playing for Rangers. Do you think, given that Russell Martin changed the shape and the approach against Celtic, that he will go along the same lines against Hearts? Even if he does that, Rangers need to create far more than, nothing against Celtic pretty much. So he has to adapt it somewhat. Now, I get he's only got, players are returning from their international teams. Nico Raskin's another one, of course, who really impressed. He's only going to have a few days with them on the training pitch before Saturday. Are you expecting big things, changes perhaps? What do you think we're going to see from Russell Martin and the team that he selects? Is it going to be along the same lines as Celtic, or what we've seen prior to that?
Well, we'll take a touch on the Nico Raskin point to begin with. I think that he absolutely has to come back into the starting 11 for me, and twofold the reasons for that. One, footballing wise, he is the best midfielder that we have at the club, and he absolutely has to come back into it. He played very, very well against Kazakhstan the other night. I think I've got a couple of his stats here. He did 89% pass accuracy, 6 out of 8 ground duels won, 3 out of 5 aerial duels, also scored his first Belgium goal the other night. And I think that will do. He will be absolutely flying coming back to the Rangers training centre this week. And you know that he is absolutely desperate. Coupled that with the comments that he made when he was on international duty saying that he has no intention of leaving. I think he comes back into this fold really confident, and he'll be a real asset. The second point on that is politically, the optics around leaving Nico Raskin out again, I don't think would favour Russell Martin particularly well. I think that it would be seen as a bit of a going to war with the player, and I think that it really would be best for all parties if Nico Raskin is back in the starting 11 this weekend. That would be my personal preference, because I think he really adds so much to that team. In terms of how you're going to approach it against Hearts, I think it has to be different to the Celtic game, because 0-0 against Hearts is not a good result. Let's put that on the table right now. If the game against Hearts on Saturday was to finish the same as the Old Firm game finished 2 weeks ago, then Rangers fans will not be happy with that. Rangers are expected to go and win this game on Saturday afternoon, and I hesitate to use the term must win, but it really does feel like that already for Russell Martin's tenure here as Rangers manager, because you know Derek McInnes is a canny operator. He's been really successful in the Scottish game. He's going to have a plan down to a T coming to Ibrox, and he's going to be given absolutely everything to come away with something on Saturday afternoon. And Russell Martin is going to need to find a way to break that down. He's going to need to find a way to get his creative players firing, because like you said, as much as we'd all take a point against Celtic before a ball was kicked, the sheer lack of creativity was incredibly concerning. And I think if there's that lack of chances created again on Saturday, then I do have my concerns about whether Rangers come away with a positive result.
Yeah, incidentally, Hearts will be missing record signing Eduardo Aggio for that visit to Ibrox. He's got a hamstring injury. They're also going to be missing Frankie Kent as well. Incidentally, Derek McInnes has been speaking about that game. He said it's like most teams, no team's going to be as good as they want to be at this stage. Everybody's still finding their way. We've got to expect a tough game. We've got to expect that we're not going to get nothing from the game unless we play well. Rangers, despite the difficult start, they've got good players. There's significant investment being put into the team. I'm confident. The players have got to feel confident. I expect us to be really competitive. I expect us to be good enough to get a result. I also expect Hearts to get a result if Rangers don't improve massively from what we've seen so far. So that is a big one. It is must win for me. If Rangers don't win this game, I've seen some in the comments posing questions. Should the Rangers hierarchy make a change? Well, given Russell Martin's comments after the last game against Celtic, he seems to have the full support from the board. He mentioned Andrew Kavanagh, of course, in chats with Kevin Thelwell and Patrick Stewart. The fans have, well, the majority of the fan base have made their feelings known about where they stand in it. It's an unacceptable start from Rangers. God forbid what the atmosphere is going to be like if Rangers don't get maximum points, Blair. They simply cannot afford to go 5 games without a league win. How much more pain can we put up with here? For me, I said it on the show yesterday, Rangers now have a squad, given that the window is now shut, that has enough quality in it, in my mind, to go on and win the league title. So it's now all on Russell Martin and his coaching team to get the best out of this squad. I think this is a decent squad Rangers have got here.
Yeah, maybe it's just the optimist in me. Maybe I've just watched a lot of football, but he has to get a win at some point. You would imagine, just purely by purely by the law of averages, he has to get a win at some point. But would another draw surprise me? Absolutely not. It wouldn't surprise me if we leave Ibrox on Saturday and the points have been shared. An interesting point you mentioned there a little bit on the transfer window being closed. This is something that Russell Martin repeated over and over again during his opening weeks in the job. He said he just can't wait for the transfer window to be shut so that all the outside noise regarding players coming and going will be dispelled and he can get down to work with the players that are there. Now, this is now where he has to put his money where his mouth is, because the transfer window's closed. He's got the players that he wants in, and like we've said before, I don't think anybody can say that he has been backed by the board. And now the players who haven't managed to get moves out, who are there, and Nico Raskin, again, one of these players that has been so much talk round about him. Does he want to go? Does he want to stay? What are the surroundings in that? He's put his line in the sand. He's shown his cards. He said, look, I want to be here. I want to play. So he is now saying to the Rangers fans very openly, I am fully committed to this cause. I do think there has to be a little bit of give and take from both sides here. I think that Nico Raskin does have to step up his performances. At the same time, I think Russell Martin has to shake hands and go, okay, we might not have got off to the best of starts, but we can make this work mutually beneficial for both of our benefits. So I think that now with the transfer window closed, Russell Martin can finally get this squad in the way that he wants it to be looking. He's not going to have any sort of dissenting voices. And I see that comment there. If Rangers can go on a win and run, if they can go on and string some wins together, then the confidence will grow. And who knows? Like, you don't know what's going to happen in football. All the evidence points to Rangers aren't quite there yet in terms of a team that have the mentality to go on a 6, 7, 8 game win and run. But a good result against Hearts on Saturday, who look to me a really serious team this year. A good result against them on Saturday could really be the springboard to kick this Rangers team into gear.
Yep, got a good record against Hearts. I hope that continues. Had a good record against Belgium teams before. Came up against Club Brugge, incidentally, and we all know how that played out. Rangers Man 55 says, what is the likelihood, even if he does win, that he can do that week in, week out with that style? I don't think the style is suited to Scottish football, incidentally. Whatever the style in his image, which we haven't seen yet, it's fair to say. We've not really seen anything that makes us believe that this is the way forward. But if he looks to change things, and if he sort of, I know he was stuck in this, but I've seen a press conference with him back in the day when he was MK Don's boss, saying that the owner was quite happy with him living and dying by his style, and he felt a sort of relief from that he can just go and implement what he wants to do without being concerned about results and what have you. Well, you need to be concerned about results. This is Rangers we're talking about here. So for me, it has to swallow a bit of pride if the style and as ideals of how he thinks football should be played if he wants to get Rangers firing here. So hopefully he does that for the weekend. But it's not going to be easy. Like you say, Hearts have had a good start to this season. Now, they've not been scintillating, Blair, but they've been getting results, which is what I would have liked Rangers to have been doing. Not exactly blowing teams away. I know Livy was a battle for them. They came from 3-0 down against Motherwell, but they're putting points on the board. And they too have had a big influx of personnel, big change at Tynecastle. I very much think they are, and hearing from Tony Bloom not so long ago as well, he's not here to mess about. Rangers need to win this game tomorrow because, God forbid, they don't. They're already 6 points behind. If you go 9 points behind, you're certainly, never mind first place, second becomes a bit of a struggle as well, doesn't it? So it's huge, this game. I don't think that we're downplaying it in any way, shape or form. Rangers have to win this.
Yeah, I think what you said there is very important. Hearts are doing what Rangers fans would really have liked. I think that they're obviously going through this sort of transitional period as well. They're going through a change of ownership, a change of playing style, a change of recruitment, but crucially, they're still winning. And they're showing that you don't have to sacrifice results to implement a new system. And I think that's something that's really getting under the skin of Rangers fans when they keep hearing this, that they're going to have to go through pain. Well, you look at other teams and they don't seem to be going through that much pain when they're changing. So this is something that has to change pretty quickly, because I asked me earlier on how much pain will Rangers fans endure. I think you're pretty much hitting that threshold to the point where any more poor results and poor performances won't really be taken too kindly. I said I think it was on Transfer Deadline show, we were talking about Tony Bloom, and I think he's came up here and he's taken a look at Rangers and he's taken a look at Celtic, each with their own independent problems, and he said this can be made a go of up here. It really can. Someone that has a proven system, that has a proven formula, and we have this, I don't know if it's particularly just a West of Scotland mentality or perhaps it's further afield in Scotland, but we have this idea that just because it's been so long since anyone has disrupted that old firm duopoly, that no one's ever going to do it again. But I just don't think that's the case. I think that if you come in here with a plan and you come in here with a proven system, then Tony Bloom will fully believe that he can absolutely disrupt the top two. And I'll be honest, from what we've seen so far this season, I don't back against them to do that, because you look at, I won't discuss Celtic too much, but you look at what's happening across the city and their reticence to invest in their team, and it looks as though things are slowing up there. And you look at Rangers, who can't buy a win in the league so far, and yet now you've got Hearts, who are just slowly ticking along, just slowly picking up points. And look, it's a long old season. We've seen this with Aberdeen last year. We've seen Aberdeen go off like a train, and then that fell off a cliff, and all of a sudden they were lucky to keep in the top six. So I don't get me wrong, it is a very long season, and we've seen this story a million times before, but Rangers and Celtic are not in the strongest place they have been in the last 20, 30 years. It's in fact probably one of the weaker seasons that I've seen the old firm. So Hearts, they seem to have recruited well. They've got a good manager. I really rate Derek McInnes as a person, as a manager. I think he's absolutely perfect for Scottish football. He knows what it takes to win in Scotland. And make no bones about it, he's going to come to Ibrox and absolutely fancy his chances of winning on Saturday. And he's going to come, and if he goes away with anything less than 3 points, I guarantee you he'll be disappointed.
Yep, we have seen teams, provincial sides out with the old firm have good starts to seasons before. Aberdeen, you touched on there, had a blistering start before crumbling away. And of course, just thinking back in the day, when Rangers first came up, they were in a race with Aberdeen for second place. Unfortunately, we didn't come up and blow away the league, as we all hoped for under Mark Warburton. Hearts back in the day, Vladimir Romanov came up here, and he was expecting Hearts to really challenge it at the top end, and then press the the malfunction button when George Burley seemed to have been getting it right on the park. But I think it's good for Scottish football that we have other teams really competing at the top end. Whether they can last the campaign remains to be seen, but certainly they've got someone in there like Tony Bloom who's got a track record of success, not only at Brighton, but of course in Belgium as well. So intriguing one to keep an eye on, but just hope that Rangers get a win. I'm going to say get back to winning ways, but not tasted a victory yet in the league this season, so a win would be lovely jubbly. We'll wrap up there for now. Those of you that are Rangers Review Extra members on YouTube, we'll record our weekly Q&A this afternoon. Usual time at 1 p.m, folks, so I'll pop the request into the community page. Get your questions in. We're usually inundated with questions these days, so get your questions in, folks, and we'll get through as many as we possibly can. Before we do that, I've just noticed this in the comments from Peter, and he says predictions then, Derek and Blair. Don't think we've got you on before Saturday, Blair, so I'm just going to come out and say it. I'm going to go Rangers 1-0. I don't care how they do it, scrappy as hell. I know that Kevin Fairwell in his Rangers TV interview says they want to win in a certain way. I don't give a toss about a certain way at this point in time. Just win football matches, please. So 1-0 scrappy. A Derek Cornelius header from a corner will do me nicely. Your thoughts?
I seen that comment, Derek, and absolutely knew you were going to pull it up and give this to me before we finish today. I'll go 2-1 Rangers. I think, as I said, the tide has to turn eventually for Russell Martin. I would fancy Bojan Majowski to get on the score sheet. I don't think it's going to be pretty. I think it's going to be a bit of a battle out there on Saturday afternoon. I think a Derek McInnes team always will make that for you. I think Rangers will maybe just come out on top and hopefully get the season into motion. It'll be very interesting to see the listeners' comments, leaving their prediction in the comments, and see what they think will be the outcome on Saturday.
Yeah, a lot of people expecting Rangers to win the game. As a touchdown, good record against Hearts, so hopefully that can continue this coming weekend. Right, big thank you to Blair. Big thank you to you all for tuning in to the show, folks. It's very much appreciated. Just a reminder, if I know that a number of you tune in every weekday morning that aren't subscribers, hit that subscribe button, hit the notification bell. You'll never miss a video when we go live. As we touched on earlier, we've got other videos during the course of the day that come out. That video with Bilal, the Marseille boy, last night as well. So hit that notification bell, and any videos that pop up, you'll get a little buzz to your phone or however you consume your Rangers Review content. So enjoy your Wednesday, whatever you are up to, and we'll chat again soon. Bye for now.